What it is, Martino, Peace and Grease here, and today we're going to be talking about the Tier 2 Exemplar Crown. Now let's talk about real quickly what is in that crown, the rewards that you may be interested in. First is obviously this Capturicine. This is the Corpus Hanger Capturicine, and again, if you're into Capturas, you may want this, maybe you will, maybe you won't, it's up to you. The other items that you can get from this crown are going to be the Strofa Receiver, which is the new Corpus Gunblade, the melee weapon, the Stalta Stock, which is the new primary, the Velox Receiver, which is the new secondary, and of course, last but not least, is the Protea Chassis. And on top of all of those, there is the Exemplar Crown ship decoration, which is the second one you see stuck to my windshield on my orbiter. The one just left to right, the first one is the Granum Crown, the second is the Exemplar Crown, and the third is the Zenith Crown. But we're talking about the Tier 2, which is the middle one. Now this is a good news, bad news situation. Unfortunately, well, there's no quick, easy, and fast farm for these. There's literally only one location where you can farm the Exemplar Crowns. Literally only one. Now don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that there's only one mission across the entire star chart. No, on the contrary. What I'm saying, however, is that if you're wanting to farm the Tier 2, the second coin, the Exemplar Crown, you can only run one specific location, and unfortunately that's going to be Adraste. That's it. That's your only option. Now, don't misunderstand me. If you have the Tier 1, Granum Crown, for example, you can run those on high-level missions, for example, on the Pluto, the Corpus ship tile sets, the reworks. If you have the Tier 3, the Zenith Crowns, you can run those on low-level Corpus ship tile sets. So you can run the coins anywhere you want, but in order for you to be able to farm them, that's what I'm talking about. There's only one location, and unfortunately, it's only a Sabotage. That's the bad news. There is good news, though. And the good news is that the same exact tactic that we used in the first Granum Crown, we're going to be using on the second Exemplar Crown. We're going to do the same exact thing that we did in my first video. If you haven't watched that, let's quickly cover the build so you have a general idea of what we're doing. Okay, so for weapons, doesn't matter. Run whatever you want. It does not matter. Again, you don't have to run your Zorus melee. We're not freeing any of the Fortuna people in the Granum Void. We don't care about those. Our objective is to get the required number of enemy kills in the Granum Void so we get all of the rotation rewards, A, B, and C, and we get in, get out, and then we complete the objective, we look for the treasurer, and then we dip out. Just that simple. So let's talk about the Bolt build real quick. I only changed really one thing on this build from my first video, and that is that I swapped out Augur Reach for Augur Secrets. Now, again, this is growing power. I'm running it. If you don't have growing power, you can run a different aura mod. Not a big deal. If you have just a regular Bolt, you can skip power drift, so you don't have to use an Exilus adapter on your regular Bolt. But you are going to probably want to run Augur Secrets in this case, because you're going to need the additional power strength, because keep in mind, going from the Tier 1 coin to the Tier 2 coin, the enemies get a little bit more resilient, so you're going to need to cope with that. I am running Streamline for my efficiency, running Stretch for my range, running Umbral Intensify for my power strength. You can possibly get away with a max rank Intensify if you don't have Umbral Intensify at max rank, so you can do that. I am also running Capacitance. This is a Bolt Augment. Basically, if I use any of Bolt's abilities and I damage an enemy shields, that comes right back to my Bolt in the form of shields. As I said in my first video, with this mod, I typically see about 1,500 shields, and this is really important because, as you'll notice, I'm not running any any health, shields, or armor mods, and this already Bolt is pretty fragile, so mobility is your friend. keep moving at all times. If you stay still, they're probably going to down you. So I got to warn you on that one. The couple other mods that we're going to be running are Overextended, which gives me more range but dings my power strength. But Transient Fortitude gives me back my power strength, but it dings my duration. And Narrow-Minded gives me back my duration but dings my range. And of course, Overextended gives me back my range. And so on and so forth. Very circular type of build. If there was one mod that you can drop, or two mods that were expendable, I would say Power Drift and Capacitance you could probably ditch and then run an irregular Intensify. You can probably get away with doing that. All right. So with all that said, Arcanes don't matter. Run whatever you want. Let's run through an Adraste run here real quickly. Now, typically, even though this is a Sabotage mission, you can usually get through this in less than 5 minutes. So again, while it sounds like bad news, because you only have one option to farm Exemplar coins, I mean, it could be worse. Could be something like a freaking defense or, something along those lines. So again, could be worse, but unfortunately, we don't have any options. We don't have any choices. That's really the downside. I wish there was a capture or an assassinate or something other than just the Sabotage, but it is what it is. Now keep in mind, if you're going to jump into the Granum Void, do it before you do the Sabotage objective. Because if you do the Sabotage objective and then try and jump into the Granum Void, you only have 3 minutes once you complete the Sabotage portion before the mission fails. And if you complete that Sabotage, the timer starts. And if you jump into the Granum Void, any time you spend in that void is slowly ticking away on mission failure. So that's why it's so imperative you do the Granum Void mission before you do the Sabotage portion of this mission. Okay, we should have a Granum Void terminal down here, and we do. So we're going to jump in here real quickly. There's the Exemplar Crown. Okay. Now, unlike the first mission, you may want to pick up some of the pyramids that drop on the ground, because ultimately you're going to need a little bit more time than you did in the first mission. You're going to need 75 kills this time around. There we go. 75 kills, 47 seconds. Could have probably done a little bit quicker, but no harm, no foul. So now we're going to move on to the second portion of this mission, and that is the Sabotage. Now, the Treasurer will typically spawn either after you complete the Sabotage or in the middle of doing the Sabotage. So just keep your eyes peeled for the Treasurer.
Coolant cell extracted. The reactor is going into stasis. Now is your chance to complete this sabotage. Use whatever you can to make sure it never works again. A coolant cell has been extracted. Reinserted. When the reactor is restarted, this will trigger a meltdown. Destroy the fuel injectors. non-critical. To extraction immediately. Beware, Tenno. Ship is experiencing reduced gravity and magnetic anomalies.
And there's our treasurer. I hate that. Alright. So there is our exemplar coin back. And there you have it. Pretty straightforward. Even, let's see, what did we end up getting? Credit cash, yeah, and Indo, that, and the Stulta stock. So, there you go. Even though it is a sabotage mission, that still took less than 5 minutes. Looking at 4 minutes and 25 seconds. So, even though it's bad news in the sense that you don't get a choice in the mission that you're running, at the same time, it could be worse. It could be a defense mission or an interception mission, in which it's going to take you, well, probably about the same time, and then on top of which you don't even get to jump into the Granum Void while you're doing it. So it's, could be worse. Most definitely could be worse. It's not that bad. So this tactic is highly effective, enough so that I've actually racked up all of the rewards on the second exemplar crown. I have multiple copies of everything on the coin, so it does work, and it does work very well. Again, best bit of advice I can give you is stay mobile with Volt. If you stand still, you're probably going to get downed, so keep that in mind. Anyway, hopefully that helps you guys and gals out. Let me know down in the comment section, and until next time, peace and grease.